Cope という動詞使ってますか？ Hi everyone, it's Scott here from That's English School. 今回は Cope について話したいと思います。なんで Cope を選んだの？という方がたくさんいると思いますが、あんまり聞いたことない動詞だなという方もいるではないでしょうか。そうなんです。そういう理由です。Cope というのはすっごく便利な動詞なんですが、多分多くの方が使い慣れてないような気がしますね。意味としてはですね、結論から言うと対処する、それからうまく処理するという意味になります。辛い時とか大変な時期とかに使う動詞なんですね。大丈夫？うまくいってる？手が回んないみたいな感じですね。使い方がいろいろありますので、マスターしたい方がぜひ最後まで見てくださいね。今から英語で解説していきたいと思います。And if you'd like to show your support, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Part 1, Asking Questions. So we often ask questions using Cope about how someone is doing in a difficult situation. The death of a family member. Starting a new job. Going through a divorce. Looking after elderly parents. Or living alone for the first time. We want to ask about whether they have a lot of stress, are scared about something, or are just overworked. Here are some examples. How are you coping? This is the simplest sentence of all, but one that I really recommend that you try and learn. It shows that you care by using the word cope. Please note that it's often used with the question word how. How are you coping? How is your daughter coping with living alone in Tokyo? So it's also really common to use coping with something. How is Mary coping with the death of her husband? So we often use it when someone passes away. How is she coping? Are you coping all right with your new job? In this case, we are just using the be verb plus coping. Is William coping well with the stress of his exams? As I said before, cope is often used when we're talking about stress. To cope with stress. Okay, now I'm going to show you a slide of all the sentences I've been talking about so far. I recommend you take a screenshot and save them on your phone or in your computer so you can go back and review. Or if you want to stop the video and write them down in a good old-fashioned notebook. Okay, let's have a pop quiz. The question is this. Are you coping okay with the new software? There's a pretty something something learning curve. And the choices are A, good. B, hard. C, high. D, steep. And the answer is D, steep. Are you coping okay with the new software? There's a pretty steep learning curve. So if there is a lot to learn, we often say there is a steep learning curve.
I will fight to the death, for I am the mighty Zorro. Oh, I have to take this. Hold on. Mama. It's my mama.
Zorro, is that you?
Yes, it's your lovely boy.
Zorro, you're going to have to come back. I can't cope.
But Mama, I have to fight for our freedom.
There's a big spider in the living room. You know I can't cope with spiders.
A spider, you say? A spider? You can't cope with the spider? You must be strong, Mama. It is weak, but you are strong. You must learn how to cope with the spider. There are so many in our house.
Oh, don't say that.
Okay, I have to go. Love you. We have to learn how to cope with the difficulties in our lives.
Part 2 is answering negatively. So if someone asks you how you're coping and you're not doing so good, you can answer using responses like these. I'm not coping very well with my new job. I've still got a lot to learn. We often use coping well or badly if you're having some problems. I can't cope at all. It's too much for my brain to handle. Can or can't cope is a very common way to use it. He can't cope with the fact that he'll never walk again. So that's another really common way to use cope. He can't cope with the fact that. So this means you're having trouble understanding or accepting or processing some particular situation. He can't cope with the fact that something. My daughter is having trouble coping with her schoolwork. Teachers often use this word if their students can't handle the work very well. He's having trouble coping with the homework, having trouble coping with this particular subject. The hospital couldn't cope with the sudden need for hospital beds in the pandemic. So we can use it for hospitals, or companies, or organizations. It's not just for people. Okay, here is a summary of all those sentences. Remember, take a snapshot or write it down in your notebook. Okay, here's another pop quiz. The question is this: Brian's not coping too well with the increased workload. After all, he's no spring something. And the choices are A, chicken, B, rabbit, C, egg, D, onion. And the answer is A, chicken. Brian's not coping too well with the increased workload. After all, he's no spring chicken. So someone who is no spring chicken means they are not so young anymore.
Ha ha! Oh, I must call my mama. I wonder how she is coping with the spider. Mama, ha ha!
Zorro, is that you, my boy?
Yes, it's me. How are you coping with the spider?
Well, I chased him and he ran away into your bedroom.
Well, that's okay, Mama. I can cope with a little spider.
Oh, it's not little. Didn't I say it's a great big tarantula?
A tarantula, you say? Oh, I can't cope with a tarantula in my bedroom. I'm coming home. This is a job for Zorro. I must go.
Part 3 is answering positively. So if someone asks you how you're coping and things are looking good, you can use expressions like these. I'm actually coping surprisingly well. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. In this sentence, cope is followed by well, which is an extremely common pattern. John's just about coping with the death of his beloved dog. So when we use just about coping, we can assume that this person is borderline. He's probably putting a brave face on it. He's just about coping. I'm coping, but I don't know for how long. If things are fine at the moment, but might get worse, then you might not be able to cope anymore in the future. I can cope with this kind of thing. It's a walk in the park for me. It sounds like this person is in complete control. So if something is a walk in the park, it means it's really easy, it's no trouble, no problem. It's very similar to the expression, it's a piece of cake. It's a walk in the park. Yumiko is coping incredibly well with her new responsibilities at work. From this sentence, I can tell that Yumiko is a real go-getter. She loves a challenge and sounds like she's pretty ambitious. Okay, now let's look at one more slide with the summary of these sentences. Remember, take a screenshot or write them down in your notebook so you don't forget how to use it. It's homework time for all you super keen people out there. I'm going to give you a Japanese sentence and I want you to change it into a beautiful English sentence using cope. Okay, so here it comes. その会社は変化にうまく対処することができなかった。Okay, so この、日本語を英語にしてコメント欄のところに入れてね。後でチェックしますので必ずチェックしますよ。Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. You are a superstar. So the next video is this one over here. It's about how to use ain't. I'll see you over there.
I will fight to the death, for I am the mighty